The wind screamed across the ruined valley, carrying with it the acrid tang of plasma fire and the charred scent of bodies. Sergeant Daniel Rourke crouched behind the twisted husk of an armored crawler, his pulse rifle cooling against the scarred plating. His unit had been ordered to fall back. The line had broken, and no human battalion could hold against the relentless advance of the Threx war machine. But Daniel didn't move. Not yet. Something stirred just beyond the smoke. He saw her collapse minutes earlier, an alien warrior in ornate carapace armor, easily 8 feet tall, her limbs corded with muscle and strange violet skin glistening beneath her broken armor. She wasn't human, not by any stretch. The high ridges on her forehead and the bioluminescent veins that ran across her body marked her as Kelith, a species that had been humanity's uneasy allies for less than 5 years. The retreat orders had been explicit. Leave no equipment. Leave no bodies. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to extract allied non-humans if it compromises withdrawal. And yet there she was, lone, bleeding, trying to push herself upright even though one leg bent at a terrible angle. Everyone else had run past her. Daniel clenched his jaw. He had seen too many comrades left behind already, human and Kelith alike. But something about the way she struggled, refusing to surrender even as the enemy thundered closer, cut through the numbness inside him. He broke cover and ran. The alien lifted her head as Daniel approached, her 4 eyes narrowing with suspicion, then softening into something like surprise. Her voice was a ragged growl. Human, why? No time for questions. Daniel slung his rifle across his back and slid an arm beneath hers. She weighed more than any human could carry, but adrenaline made him reckless. He heaved her onto his shoulders in a fireman's carry, ignoring the flare of pain in his spine. "You'll slow," she rasped, blood dripping down his armor. "Yeah," Daniel grunted, forcing himself into a jog. "But we'll both die if I don't." The battlefield roared around them. Explosions shredded the air. The Threx war machines, their spider-like mechs, pounded closer. Daniel ducked into a ravine, boots slipping on shale. He half stumbled, half ran, carrying her bulk as the ground trembled. Her voice was faint now. "Your people, they left me." "Not all of us," he muttered, teeth grinding with effort. Hours later, long after the echoes of battle had faded, Daniel collapsed inside a shattered bunker buried in the cliffs. The alien still breathed, though shallowly. He laid her on the ground and ripped open his medpack. Her anatomy was foreign. 4 lungs, thick violet blood, bone structure denser than steel. He had no training in treating her kind. But he did what he could, sealing wounds with biofoam, wrapping splints around her mangled leg. She watched him with unblinking eyes. "You risk exile. Your command will not forgive this." Daniel shrugged, though his muscles screamed from exhaustion. "Let them court-martial me if they want. You're alive. That's enough." For the first time she smiled, or something close to it, baring teeth that gleamed like obsidian. "I am Kelith, daughter of the 7th line." "Daniel," he said simply, pressing a bandage against her ribs. Just Daniel. They hid in that bunker for 2 days, scavenging rations, listening to the distant rumble of war. Daniel kept the alien alive with sheer stubbornness, though more than once he thought she wouldn't last. In her fever, Kelith muttered words in her native tongue, harsh, melodic syllables Daniel couldn't understand. By the 3rd night, she sat upright, propped against the wall, her bioluminescent veins glowing faintly in the dark. "Your people mistrust mine," she said softly. "They think you're too violent, too unpredictable." Her 4 eyes glimmered. We are violent. War is the breath of our ancestors. But we honor those who stand with us. Even the smallest, even the frailest. She tilted her head. You carried me when your kind fled. Daniel didn't know what to say. He'd only done what his conscience demanded, though he knew command would brand it reckless. Still, sitting there in the dim light with the alien warrior watching him like no one ever had, he felt something shift inside him. The war dragged on above them. Daniel's comms crackled once with orders. Sergeant Rourke, report your position. Immediate regroup required. He hesitated, finger hovering over the transmitter. If he answered, they would send retrieval, and likely leave Caliph behind once more. He shut it off. Instead, he and Caliph planned. She drew maps of the valley in the dust with her clawed finger, explaining where the Threx patrols moved, where the supply drops landed. Despite her injuries, her mind was sharp, tactical, calculating. Daniel realized she wasn't just any soldier. She was a commander, perhaps even royalty among her people. On the 5th night, she said, if we reach the mountains, my kin will find us. But I cannot walk far. Will you still carry me, human? Daniel gave a weary grin. Guess I've gotten used to it. Their journey through the wilderness was brutal. Daniel bore Caliph on his back for miles, sometimes half dragging her when terrain grew impossible. Threx drones hunted overhead, their searchlights sweeping the dark, but Caliph guided them into caves and gullies no human would have noticed. One dawn, a patrol cornered them on a ridge. Plasma bolts scorched the air as Daniel fired back, shielding her with his own body. Caliph, too weak to fight, whispered words that sounded like prayer. A shot grazed Daniel's arm, burning flesh, but he refused to drop her. He hurled a grenade and dove into the underbrush, clutching her against him as the explosion lit the sky. When silence fell, Caliph looked at him with something deeper than gratitude. Among my people, to carry another in battle is to claim them as kin. You have bound yourself to me, Daniel. He stared at her, chest heaving. Then I guess we're family now. At last, after what felt like weeks but was only 9 days, they reached the mountains. Storm clouds rolled overhead, and Caliph raised her clawed hand, letting out a guttural call that echoed off the peaks. Moments later, shapes emerged, towering Kelith warriors in shining armor, their weapons humming with power. They encircled Daniel, their expressions unreadable. One barked in their tongue, clearly demanding why a human carried one of their own. Caliph spoke sharply, her voice fierce despite her frailty. The warriors stiffened. Then, to Daniel's shock, they bowed their heads. She looked at him. I told them you saved me, that you bore me when others fled. They will not forget. Daniel felt the weight lift from his shoulders at last, both literal and metaphorical, as they carefully took her from him. But as she was borne away, she caught his hand in her clawed grip. You are marked now, Daniel Rourke. The 7th line owes you a debt. When you call, we will come. When he finally returned to human command, the debrief was cold, clinical, unforgiving. His superiors demanded to know why he disobeyed orders, why he risked the mission for an alien. They threatened court-martial, demotion, exile. Daniel stood silent through it all. But weeks later, when the Threx launched a devastating offensive, salvation came not from Earth's fleets, but from the sky-shattering arrival of the Kelith Armada. Their banners bore a new sigil. 2 figures, one alien, one human, carrying each other through fire.